Patty people. Samantha, one of your Patty Crane Workshop coordinators here with you once again, and I'm excited to be back for part 2 of our Canadian grant conversations. Now that you're registered with the Canada Arts Council, we're here to get into the more practical advice for applying for those grants and setting yourself up for successful consideration. Back with me today is Ed Mendez, Canadian Grant Specialist. To remind you a little bit more about him, he is also an actor, director, fight director, stunt performer, and longtime Patty participant. Ed has over 16 years of grant writing experience in a personal and professional capacity, writing both on behalf of himself, individual artists, and multiple theater organizations in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Ed, take it away.
Thank you so much, Samantha. Hey, everybody. So today we are going to delve into how to strengthen your professional development for artists application before submitting it to a jury for review. So first things first, the Canada Council for the Arts has a variety of program officers that are there to provide you with advice on each program. So if at the end of this video you still have any questions, feel free to give them a call or send them an email. Lots of people tend to see granting organizations as faceless entities, but the truth is they all want you to get the funding. Yes, really, actually. Sometimes if you don't get funding, you just have to remember that you are competing with every other artist across the country. So that's kind of what today is about. It's making your application pop. The juries for these applications are made up of senior artists from across the country, and we need to convince these people that you attending the Patty will help you grow as an artist and benefit your community. So with that, let's delve into the application. Now, I recommend downloading the application guidelines first and following along because that will be helpful for this video. In that document, you'll see that the scoring rubric is listed in the assessment or how decisions are made section. So impact and relevance make up 80% of your scoring rubric. The questions that the jurors are going to want to see answered are things like, how does this project contribute to your artistic development? How does the project generate opportunities for professional growth? What is the artistic rationale for the project? And how is it suited to your artistic goals? And finally, this one is worth about 20%, but how suitable will the IOSP be to achieving those goals? So with that, let's head into the application itself. So the first 7 questions are pretty self-explanatory. I will highlight that in question 6, you're going to want to make sure that you're selecting taking workshops as the activity, since the Patty Crane workshop is a workshop. Question 8, art forms that you are involved in or that this workshop might touch on will be things like stage combat, film stunts, intimacy coordination, historic European martial arts, and more. Also, I would just include theater as a broad thing and media arts too. Question 9. So here is where the Canada Council is asking you for the specifics on the project, or what are you going to do? Information on the workshop schedule itself will be available on the Patty website soon enough. So this is more about the what than it is about the why. So the schedule versus the rationale. That's what we're going to get into in just a moment. So really, you got 250 words to describe just what the Patty is. The question number 10 is, the way that I like to frame it is, why now? It's worth mentioning in this section that the Patty Crane workshop happens once every 2 years at maximum. And as such, this will be the last gathering of international stage combat instructors in Canada until 2028 at the earliest. You could also chat about the reputation that the Patty Crane workshop has in your community and our industry as a whole. And yeah, that's basically that. Question 11, and this is kind of the big one. What will this workshop do to advance your career? This is where you're going to tie in international instruction that we talked about in the previous question to your goals as a stage combatant, stunt person, film director, whatever discipline it is that you are coming from. You need to make the argument that you attending the Patty is going to have tangible benefits to you as an artist and to your career opportunities, and realistically also to your community. Now, this is going to be a little bit tricky to pinpoint because we don't know who the instructors are at this point. However, you can still make the argument that creating networking opportunities with international instructors who are experts in your field would be greatly beneficial to you as an artist and to creating future opportunities for you. This is also a good time to mention that a strong contingent of Fight Directors Canada members of all levels will also be attending this workshop, and getting to know your peers across the country could create future collaborations for artistic projects or future training opportunities. Now, if most of your artistic experience has been in the stage combat world, you could also say that having increased opportunities for things like film stunt training, historical European martial arts training, intimacy direction, voice, movement, and then also other specific martial arts that people will be teaching at the workshop will expand your skill set as an artist and give you tools for stage combat that you may not have had before. I would highly recommend looking at the list of past classes that have been taught at previous Patty Crane workshops, because undoubtedly you're going to find some inspiration for this question on that list. And I know that this is a lot to take in, but the key point here is to make sure that you're tying in your attendance at the Patty Crane workshop to how it's going to improve your skills as an artist, improve your network as an artist, and potentially even your well of inspiration for future artistic projects. Question 12. This is where we get to talk about how amazing the IOSP is. The point being that the Patty Crane workshop is really the only workshop of its kind. It invites representatives from fight societies around the world, including Fight Directors Canada, the Society of American Fight Directors, the Nordic Stage Fight Society, the British Academy of Stage and Screen Combat, the British Academy of Dramatic Combat, the Society of Australian Fight Directors, the Academy of Dramatic Combat, and many more. You could also talk about the organization's dedication to the late Patty Crane's respect for the artist and the art of stage combat. And realistically, you should also mention that the workshop has been running for over 25 years and that the organization is dedicated to creating an environment of sharing and respect between artists of all levels. The last question that's really relevant for our purposes today is going to be question 15. And this is where you get 250 words to include any other information that you weren't able to include in any of the previous questions that is critical to understanding why you want to go to this workshop. The only bit of advice I'm going to give you here is don't reiterate anything you've already said. If you've said it once, you've said it enough. Jurors will not give you bonus points for saying it in a different way. And that's pretty much it for today's video. In our next video, we're going to talk about the budget and required documents portion. Now, don't let it scare you because really for workshops, it's pretty easy to navigate given that most of the costs of the workshop are known, or at least will be known by the time you're applying for this grant and will also be covered by this grant. Now, before signing off, I want to make sure that everybody is aware of some key logistical points that might determine whether or not you will be using this grant for the purposes of attending the Patty Crane workshop. So first, the Canada Council offers application assistance to help you with the application process if you identify in one of these two categories. The first is an artist who is deaf, hard of hearing, has a disability, or is living with a mental illness. And the second is a First Nations, Inuit, or Métis artist that is facing a language, geographic, and/or cultural barrier. So again, if you fall into either of those two categories, talk to the Canada Council because they can actually help you write this application. And the second thing, personally, while I wholeheartedly champion the Patty Crane workshop as one of the most life-changing artistic workshops offered anywhere in this world, you do only get one professional development for artist applications per calendar year. And this may affect your decision to apply for this workshop, depending on what path you decide to take. Anyhow, that is all for today. Thank you so much for tuning in.